Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports and the show Steel City Live. Sorry, I had my work hat on. I forgot to put my clean hat on. I was out spraying off everything with the pressure washer. So, yeah. And then, of course, as soon as I get on here, the dogs go absolutely batshit bonkers. I can hear them in the background. I'm sure you can too. But anyway, we're here, man. I'm still using my laptop over here, but encouraging conversations had here as of late of moving this show into the next portion of its growth phase. So definitely really exciting things coming up, man. Just stay tuned. Definitely something that's going to be really really cool, man, and I'm really really excited to see what's going to go on here. What's up, Miss P? What's up, Za? Make sure I get everybody in the chat here. What's up, Robert Road in the chat? TD in the chat. AK, what's up, man? Let me get through here. Robert says, after letting myself get all the way up to 280 pounds, I have now lost 50 pounds in 127 days. No help from Big Pharma. I did all this by going low carb, a few hours of walking each day. Well, congratulations, my brother. I'm happy for you, man. I always want nothing more than you all to be happy and healthy, for sure, no doubt about it. And very, very, very cool, Robert. Awesome, man. Congratulations again. What's up, Aaron Derrick? What's up, JD? What's up, D? Good to see you all also in the chat. Again, guys, make sure you are liking and subscribing and all that good stuff if you're not already. This is what I was messing with beforehand. It's a little board that I have hooked here to the laptop. I'm not going to use it during the show, but it got some cool shit on there, like booze, clapping, all that kind of cool stuff. So I'm going to get that working in the meantime while we're working on getting Mike Drop Sports and the show Steel City Live all set up with the next phase. So I'm excited, man. I tell you guys, I'm super excited to move into this. Like, we tried it before with the StreamYard. It wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but man, I cannot wait to do this. It's going to be so cool. We're going to have some new theme music, new things like that. It's just going to be really, really super cool. I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped, man. Robert Road, did the Steelers did great getting a third and fifth for that crybaby Pickens? Yeah, and that was something I wanted to talk about. Another Steeler. Why is it that every Steeler, it seems, that goes on and moves on to somewhere else is finding themselves being a little salty going out the door, man? Making those big, weird comments and then blaming it on AI. That's the real thing that really makes me laugh when I'm talking about this stuff, when I'm thinking about it, because yeah, okay, man, AI, everything's AI. That's such an easy cop out now. You know, I didn't say it. It was AI. Somebody else made that. Get a life, man. You said the shit. You know, you're an immature crybaby. You're salty. You're going to go there and create drama there too. And according to many reports, guys, as the days march on, the violations in which George Pickens was committing violations in terms of team rules and things of that nature was just vast and overwhelming, according to a lot of places that's coming out of. And, you know, those things are now going to come out. You know, no longer are they going to sweep them under the rug anymore. So, yeah, George Pickens was just a lot of trouble. And the talent, yes, was there. Football-wise, I'd have loved to have seen him with DK Metcalf. George Pickens, the player, I think could be really, really good. But George Pickens, the man, is probably going to more than likely sabotage his career, his own self. And that's on him, just because I don't know if he has the ability to keep his mouth shut. I don't know if he has the ability to work in the way that you have to work at the NFL level in order to be one of the greats, in order to be one of the best ever, in order to go down in the history books, to get your name put into Canton, Ohio, to be immortalized forever. I don't know if he has that type of work ethic because, guys, just being good at football isn't enough to get to those places. It's just not enough. And some people may be like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. You know, these guys, they're ultra good. They'll be all right. They don't have to work like you and I or anybody. No, they got to work harder than anybody else. They got to work harder to get to that mountaintop, man. Guys, just look at Tom Brady, a guy that honestly, athletically was nothing I mean, just a regular run-of-the-mill guy in terms of NFL players. But what made him so great was what? The work that he put in each and every single day, the study, the mental aspect of the game, to where he was so far superior in that, so much more prepared because of the work that he put in. And that is exactly, my friends, what propels you to that next level. That's what gets you out of the class of, yeah, they're good ball players, got a lot of potential, to, man, they're one of the best. They're one of the greatest. They're one of the best in the league. That's what gets you into that area. But again, guys, we're going to continue to talk about a lot of things. Dermontae Kazee staying in the division. He will go to the Cleveland Browns now, the former Pittsburgh Steelers safety, a guy that's been a little bit of a journeyman here, traveled around now. Been with several teams now, finding himself with the Cleveland Browns. Hey, good luck to you, my friend, in the Cleveland area. But good luck to Dermontae Kazee. I can't wait to be with you on the journey. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, Zah. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I like Big B too, man. I like genuine people. That's my thing, guys. I've been asked to do a lot of stuff. I don't do a lot of things out there, because I just like genuine people, and you can tell who genuine people are. So that's what I try to keep my circle small. Try to keep the people that I go out there and work with small, because honestly, man, I just like genuine people that aren't bullshitting you, people who aren't lying, just nice people, good-hearted people. So that's what I try to keep my circle to. Deet, Ravens block best. Oh, Deet says Ravens suck, worst in the NFL. What's up, Deet? Aaron Derrick, I'm glad they tore that bandage off, because he was causing us to lose games. I had to go. Yeah, and that's what you want to see from this group here right now. Aaron brings up an excellent topic here, whether he meant to or not. The Steelers need to quit band-aiding everything. And that Band-Aids are a result of this, guys. The fan base expects to win in the city of Pittsburgh, and if they go out there and they're going 5-12, and losing seasons, you as a fan, you're going to be running your jib. Same as I would be too. We're not going to be happy with it. We're not going to be satisfied. And I believe the Steelers have taken the approach with this rebuild that they've been in for a while, that they want to remain competitive. And I think that they think to themselves, we'll just Band-Aid certain things in order to stay competitive, and we won't rip those Band-Aids all the way off and try to have that total rebuild, that massive rebuild, and just really flip this thing around. But I think we've endured that Band-Aid portion of this Pittsburgh Steelers history, that now all of a sudden these Band-Aids are getting to get ripped off without major ramifications happening to this roster, to where the roster is still remaining a steady one, a competitive one, and the Band-Aids are starting to get ripped off, and you're actually starting to see real solutions at a lot of these spots. And I understand the quarterback position isn't fixed just yet, but guys, I got to tell you, I think that there are viable options there. I think even if Aaron Rodgers does sign, which I'm going to tell you this, I think he already is a Pittsburgh Steeler, whether you want to believe me or not, I can almost probably guarantee you that he is a Pittsburgh Steeler really, really soon. Amongst other people, you can see it for yourself. There's a lot of reports out there, and if you put 2 and 2 together, you can just assume that that's going to happen. But you now have guys like Will Howard that fit a Steelers mold. You've brought back Mason Rudolph, who I think can play really, really well inside of the Steelers organization. I think he fits what a Pittsburgh Steeler is meant to be, and what the franchise is looking for. But look at Will Howard, a guy that's already impressed a ton of people in that building with his work ethic, with his approach to business each and every day. That guy there is big, strong, fast, physical. Well, not fast. We won't say fast, but quick enough. But physical, big, a big dude, a smart guy. And that's what the Steelers are looking for. A guy that wants to be a good teammate, that wants to work hard, that wants to put team above self. Those are the things. And I think the Steelers have found a lot of that lately. And I think when you hear these guys speak in the media, you can tell whether they're Well, we'll use George Pickens as an example. You can tell whether someone is genuine or not with the way they speak. You can tell by their demeanor. You can tell by the way they talk to you if they're genuine or not. It's not rocket science to figure out. And when you hear guys like George Pickens, you don't hear that genuine feel to their voice, to their demeanor. You don't feel that. But when you hear some of these guys, the Derek Harmons, the YA Blacks, all these guys that have been brought in, these young men, Caleb Johnson even the other day, I heard him speak. These guys, you get that feel that they have the proper mind frame, that they're not bullshitting you, that they are genuine, that they really do want to be there. You're not getting that bullshit speak that George Pickens would put out there. You're not getting that. You're getting a good vibe from some of these people. And that's special. And I think the Steelers have definitely taken a turn. I think they've stopped ripping or putting Band-Aids on things. And I think they've actually taken an approach to fix some of the situations that were wrong with this roster, i.e. the defensive front. And I know there are podcasters out there, people that cover the football team, that wanted to talk about the Steelers up front statistically last year. But there were missing pieces to that. They may have statistically been okay, but they weren't quite where they need to be competitive inside of the playoffs. That's the problem with looking at stats sometimes. Sometimes you need to peel all the layers back, look at what you got, look at what you're missing, and then start to add to those things. And I think they did that with Derek Harmon, with YA Black. I think they recognized that, we're just not quite there. We still get gashed in the run game. We still get picked apart in the pass game. Statistically, we're all right there at times. We do okay. The defense has carried us for a while, but we're still missing some pieces. And they went out there and they fixed those things. That's an example of what I think this team's doing. All right, guys, I'm not going to be able to read everybody's chat comment, but I am going to try to skip through and get everybody that I can. I'll try to give every viewer a chance as best I can. We just run out of time, and I get so far behind in the chat that we're like 10 topics ahead, and then I got to go back and things of that nature. So I'm going to read a lot of comments. I may not comment back on some of them, but I'll read some of them, and I'll get caught back up, and then we'll have our discussion that way. But again, make sure you are liking the show, man. You could simply double tap the screen or hit 3 little white dots up in the right-hand corner of your screen, or however you got to do it on your device. Make sure you are hitting that like button, sharing the show, and if you're not subscribed, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for, man. Join the conversation. A lot of exciting, great things are coming down the way here for the show Steel City Live and Mike Drop Sports. Danny George, what's up, man? You think Trey Surman overtakes Gainwell in the running back room? No, what I think Trey Surman was brought in, and I think the writing has been on the wall the whole offseason, Danny, and you pose a good question. The other day I hadn't done enough the day they brought Trey in and the day that everybody was trying to ask me about him, I hadn't looked at Trey enough. But when I look at the writing on the wall over this offseason, what has been said, and that is basically a really overhaul of that running back room and moving on from Najee Harris being that running back one. And what I think Trey Surman does is allows you to have a physical runner, allows you to also separate yourself from Cordell Patterson, a guy that we all know. Come June 1, he is a guy that's going to be gone. He's not going to be there. He will be a post-June 1 designation. So we've all known that. If you are a Steeler fan and you follow this team all offseason, when you've seen the acquisition of Kenneth Gainwell, you saw the drafting of Caleb Johnson, you saw the retention with Jaylen Warren signing his tender. So you saw all the writing on the wall. Now with the addition of Trey Surman, that just gives the Steelers that four running backs in that room is what you're looking for. And you're looking forward to getting rid of Cordell Patterson, a guy that is now well into his 30s, that isn't contributing the way that you would have wanted him to, doesn't contribute really on special teams. And if you're the Steelers, what are you looking for the most out of a guy that's fourth on the running back depth chart, a guy that's third on the running back depth chart. What do they have to do for you in order to remain on the football team? Because carrying the football on a continuous basis isn't going to be their job, their main focus. You need them to be contributors on special teams, guys that can definitely contribute and really make a real special contribution to that special teams room. And guys like Trey Surman can do that. But also, you're comfortable with them if you need them inside of the backfield. And I think the Steelers now, top to bottom in that running back room, show you that they have guys that can play special teams, but they have guys also that you're comfortable with getting the football on occasion. Guys that can come in as changes of pace. Also, guys that can come in if there are injuries. So you start to really feel comfortable right now with the Trey Sermon, the Gainwell. Caleb Johnson, I think, is going to be a tremendous acquisition. I still am floored that he was there in the third round. I don't even know how that ever happened, but he was there. And Jaylen Warren's just going to do Jaylen Warren things. Hopefully, I would like him to make sure he secures that football a little bit, because sometimes, he gets a little bit slippery. But again, Jaylen will do Jaylen Warren things, and I think that role will continue and expand slightly. But again, I think Caleb Johnson will be that bell cow eventually. Maybe not to start the season, perhaps, but eventually you will have Caleb Johnson as that guy being the lead runner in that room, with the rest of those guys as the curveballs, as the sliders, coming in there and really changing things up, which will really give the Steelers a great chance to be really, really versatile. Also gives the Steelers a great chance to have players that fit into that Arthur Smith system, and really give the Steelers running back room a real boost for 2025, in my opinion. Also, when you have guys that fit schematically in that backfield, it helps that offensive front, which has to be the main focus of this offseason. When you have runners in the backfield that fit the scheme, fit the system, you know where they're going to be, you know how they work, how they cut, how they're going to need to execute, and how they are going to execute. I feel like that helps those offensive linemen and really gives them some sort of an identity too. So we'll see how that all works out. All right, guys, let me get a drink. Make sure you're hitting that shit out of that like button. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Let's get through here. 3P to what? Deet says this. Deet, I got to call you out for this, because, Deet, I love you, man. I feel like you're a contributor, even though you're a Ravens fan. I like to see you in the chat, but I got to call you out for this one. You're like, he says Ravens 3-peat coming. What are you 3-peating? Winning the division title don't really excite me, man. Yeah, it's cool. I want you to win that, but who gives a fuck? I mean, I'm being real honest. Who cares, bro? Who really cares? What I care about is this. I care about winning playoff games. I care about hoisting Lombardi trophies. If those aren't the things you're talking about 3-peating, buddy, your priorities are all wrong. You're in that Lamar Jackson spell of can't win big games, but man, the regular season's us. We're going to win the regular season. We're going to be awesome, man. The regular season's great. Yay. But when it comes down to the big games, your man's going to throw those interceptions. He's going to fumble the football. Their team's going to fall behind. They're not going to look like the team that they used to. John Harbaugh's going to fumble the bag. Why? Because he tries to have a team that has a certain identity during the regular season. Then all of a sudden, once they win a playoff game or something, now they're going into that second round. All of a sudden, they want to change their identity. They try to outsmart themselves at times. Trust me, man. You're not 3-peating what? Things that don't matter? Sure. Great. Yay. Za says, if I had a solid connections, I'd figure out how to produce for you. I wish, Za. I was talking to Jay Hook, the guy that he might do it for me, man. We'll see. We're working on it, and definitely should be able to do some good things. Jay Hudson, 3 walk-on players signed today. Yeah, guys, you're going to see a lot of this. Guys, why are you going to see a lot of these players signed? And the Steelers are going to start doing what? Focusing on depth across that offensive front, focusing on depth all over that roster. Why? Because they're going to be building that 90 man. And that's what they're looking for. You know, you have the mini camps coming up. You have Latrobe, Pennsylvania coming up here, and not a terribly long time. We'll be in Latrobe. We'll be talking about those guys up there working, man, in one of the best environments, I think, of all football. I really do. The Steelers and their training camp up in Latrobe, Pennsylvania at St. Vincent's College is something that if you have never experienced it, do yourself a favor. Go there. If you are from out of state, honestly, it's not like, oh, I'd go burn a week's vacation there. No. But honestly, I'd go for a day or two if I lived out of state. I'd take a road trip and literally go there because there is something about that environment that is absolutely one of a kind. And I think do yourself a favor as a Steelers fan and make the pilgrimage to St. Vincent's College. Man, it's just amazing. You would really, really enjoy it. Mark Malone, yeah, we have two legit quarterbacks, unlike last year. JJ, what's up, Mark? Arthur Smith makes the Steelers' offense not good. I don't know why you say that, JJ. I mean, I get why you're saying it because they weren't major producers last year. But I want to bring up something here and I'll try to catch up in the chat, guys, as best I can. I'm doing my absolute best with it, but it becomes taxing if I read everyone. So I am trying my best. I'll get through everyone as much as I can. But you bring up a good point, JJ, again, without maybe even meaning to. The Steelers, you got to realize how razor thin the margins are in the NFL when you're talking about offensive production and you're talking about, we'll say, average points per game. And I always tell you what is going to create an offense that could really win some football games, teams that could really, really go far, especially teams built like the Steelers that want to win like Mike Tomlin. It's an offense that can average about 24 points a game. If you hover in that 24 points a game category, you're going to win a lot of football games in the NFL. You're going to be ranked up there pretty high in the National Football League, no doubt about it. And again, you're going to have a lot of success. If you can average that 24, 25 points a game, you're going to be one of the more successful franchises. And the thing for the Steelers is, look at what they averaged last year. What was it? Maybe 20 or something. But here's the thing. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. I have to look it up. But I do know this part. If the Steelers average just 3 more points per game, just 3 more points per game, they are ranked up in the top of the NFL in terms of offensive production, average points per game. They rank up in the top. That's how razor thin these margins are in the NFL, guys. Look at some of these statistics and look at some of these rankings and look how small of a difference that it is when you go down the list. And sometimes when you look at the 15th ranked team compared to the 5th ranked team, it's literally by razor thin margins. And that's what I'm saying. The Steelers, are they really that far off from being able to be tops in the league in that? No. If they would have averaged 2-3 more points a game, they now all of a sudden rank a lot higher. Maybe we're not having this conversation. But again, that's how that all works. And that's how razor thin this is, guys. And I don't know how much more I can emphasize that. Robert Road, I am a little torn as I want to see Mason get a real shot, but I also want to see Howard get a good amount of playing time before the 2026 draft. I'm fine if Rodgers doesn't sign here. I, too, Robert, am absolutely okay if Aaron Rodgers doesn't because I have the same sentiments as Robert Road. I would love to see Will Howard get an opportunity. I love Mason. I would love him to get a real shot in the NFL. I think Mason deserves that. I think he's worked hard enough to actually get a real shot with a real football team. Not the Tennessee Titans of 2024. That's not a real shot. That team was absolutely dog shit. I'm talking about a team that roster-wise is pretty damn good. You have some good weapons. You have some stability inside of the franchise and the organization and really have a legit chance. But I'm with Robert on that. In 2025, I have to see Will Howard if I'm the Steelers. I have to see him for an extended period of time. And I know that may be troublesome in terms of pushing him out there maybe too fast, but you might want to know what you have because you might be wanting to shop for a quarterback in 2026. So the Steelers don't even have to do that, though, guys. They may be more comfortable with Will Howard than all of us. And with the way he's wowing them with his work ethic, his intelligence, his want to, his fire, maybe the Steelers are just laying back and going to build the shit out of this roster with extremely high draft capital next year in terms of the amount they got and what they could turn a lot of those picks into in terms of moving up and getting better and better players, hopefully, in theory. Or maybe using it in trade and things of that nature. But maybe the Steelers are a lot more comfortable. But I have to see Will Howard play football in 2025 because I need to know whether I need to take a big swing or if I'm comfortable, again, maybe taking an average swing and maybe trying to find a diamond in a rough type swing. You never know. And two, I know we're all excited for the 2026 draft because it's in the city of Pittsburgh and everybody out there is telling you it's going to be a better quarterback draft than 2025. Maybe it is. But nobody knows, guys. There could be injuries. There could be guys that just fall off the map due to bad play. There could be just guys that, you thought they had it, but all of a sudden they have some sort of deficiency that just you can't get over. You can't get past. And that's what happens with quarterbacks. You want to know why Shedeur Sanders didn't get drafted? It's because the building was torn. There were some people in that building that loved Shedeur with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there were the majority, though, they didn't. So you might be torn on a quarterback like that next year to where the same outcome comes out. Like the Shedeur situation. The Steelers could have taken him, but they couldn't decide on that. They couldn't come together as a collective to agree on that player. And that's what you have to do when you're drafting these players. The majority of the room wins, man. Everybody got to kind of be on board. You can have a couple outliers to where they're like, I'm not sold. But majority kind of rules in that situation. Your team that's been looking at these players all year long has to really agree. And you might not agree on somebody for next year. And you might not be able to come to terms with player versus value of the pick. And that's what happened to Shedeur. They didn't value him in the 4th round. They weren't going to move up and take him in round 5 or wherever he went. They weren't going to move up to go get him. So that's kind of what happens to some of these players. So we don't know if this draft next year is going to be a good one. We don't know. Nobody knows. And anybody that wants to pretend like they can tell you and see into the future, they're guessing. It's speculation, and that's fine, but we don't know yet. So you can't factor that in to your plans. You got to kind of play for the now. You kind of got to take the players that you have and play for the now. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about planning for the future. I'm all about trying to set things up down the road. But that's all past now. You plan before the draft. You plan before free agency. You try to prepare for the future then. And once you make your selections in free agency, once you make your selections in the draft, now it's time to figure out how to utilize those players and get the most out of them to see what you have. That's how that goes, guys. No more now. We're not planning for the future now. We're planning for the now, and we got to see what we got in some of these guys that we acquired. That's how that all works. Thomas Breeze, Howard had a great interview on Ben's show. If he shows up like Penix did with the Falcons or Daniels for the Commanders, I'll be happy. I got to say this, Thomas, good to see you, man. Will Howard, to me, was one of the top quarterbacks of the draft. I got to say, I like Tyler Shuck because I think he fits for some reason. I just do. I get a good vibe from him. Again, I could be wrong. Last year, I got nothing but good vibes in the draft from one quarterback. One quarterback in that draft wowed me, and that was Jaden Daniels. I thought he should have been the consensus number 1 overall pick. I said it all year before the draft. I don't know why. I felt it. I just liked him. I did. I loved him. But then I got a little bit of late start on this year's quarterback draft in terms of evaluations. And I got to say, there were two guys that I fell in love with in terms of being comfortable with them at the NFL level. Two guys. Now, there's guys that I was excited about at the college level, but I'm talking about when they move up to the NFL level, am I going to be as excited about them then? And the answer was there was two of them, and that was Tyler Shuck and Will Howard. And I got to say, man, I really am going to go out on a limb here. If Will Howard is afforded an opportunity in the city of Pittsburgh, I'm not sure if he ever lets that opportunity go. I'm not sure if you ever get him back off the field. That's how I feel about Will Howard. Now, do I think he's going to go in there and start 2025? No. Do I think he's going to get an opportunity without some injuries and things happening? No. But I think if he ever does, by some chance, get a real legit opportunity for extended time as a starter to where he could get in there, get comfortable, get moving, and get this thing going, I don't think Will Howard ever lets it go, guys. And you can remember I said it, because I may be wrong, but I got a good feeling for some reason about this kid. Jay says, trading freakish divas for team captains. I think my year comment went crazy. Sorry, dude. I lost it, bro. Rick Barley not cooking. Not sure what that means. Jumpin' Joe says, I'm a diehard Steeler fan, but honestly, they look bad on paper. Still hoping for the best. I got to disagree with you, Jumpin' Joe. I don't think the Steelers look bad on paper. They look bad on paper maybe in the quarterback room because there's no real proven commodity. You have some potential there. I like the potential of Mason Rudolph. I thought that he really exhibited great potential whenever he showed you what he could do in 2023 as a Steeler with a decent franchise. So I'm excited there. But Will Howard, in my eyes, has a ton of potential. So I guess you could say deficiency there. Yes, deficiency, maybe not enough depth at the offensive line position or in that offensive line group as a whole. I'll give you that. But if I look at this roster, top to bottom, and I start comparing it to other rosters across the league, I don't feel like the Steelers look bad as a roster. I don't think this roster's bad. I think there's stars on this roster. I think they're all pros. I think there are Hall of Fame type players on this roster. I think your special teams are above average, way above average. Any special teams unit with Chris Boswell on it is immediately pretty much elite. So, I think if a lot of fans discount that, they don't take into consideration how important special teams are. And I think that gives the Steelers roster a giant boost when you got guys again like Chris Boswell. Cameron Johnston was an amazing punter before he got hurt. We'll see if he's able to make that return this year. You have Corliss Waitman, a guy that could definitely boom it. I could have swore I seen Corliss Waitman still at a locker maybe in the city of Pittsburgh. I don't know. Maybe I was seeing shit. But you never know, man. You never know with this roster. I think it could definitely be good. I think there is potential there, and I think there is production there. So I can't say this roster is bad, and I can't say that this is the fourth best roster in this division of the AFC North. I got to say this, the Steelers are a team that's always picked to finish last in the division by the so-called experts. But I got to tell you, I from right now, in my way too early prediction, I see another 9-10 win season for the Steelers. As they are currently constructed right now, I can see that happening for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, perhaps maybe they have some things work out in their favor. Maybe you can add a win or two to that column. And dare I say it, maybe a playoff win? We'll see. I'm not getting ahead of myself, but I just am trying to explain that I don't think this roster is that bad. Nerlin James, how do you feel about Josh Allen? He's an absolute beast, man, but I clump him into that Lamar Jackson category. You get to the places that you want to be during the regular season. You feel like you got a little bit of hope in the postseason, but when the big moment comes, you don't get it done. And regardless of any factor or anything that comes into play and prevents you from doing it, I know this is the ultimate team game, but still, nonetheless, you're playing the most important position in all of sport. And you got to shoulder some of the blame if your team doesn't win. That's what comes along with that territory. When you're a franchise quarterback, you got to take some of that heat. And Josh Allen, I clump him into that Lamar Jackson category. And it's just not Lamar and Josh. There's several quarterbacks across the league. When the big moment is there, you're not able to take control of it. You're not able to get over that hump. And until you're able to get over that hump and playing the world's biggest game, the Super Bowl, until you're able to have a chance to chase a Sticky Lombardi, I mean, you're a good player. I feel like Josh Allen's an awesome talent, but am I going to put him as an elite player? No, I'm not, because you haven't done the elite things. You haven't won a championship. You haven't played in a Super Bowl. And until you do those things, you're just another good player in the league. I'm sorry. And people always ride me about that. Like, I dare you say that about Lamar. I dare you say that about Josh. But what do we play this game for, my friends? What do you play any sport for? It's to win championships. And if you can't do that, if you're unable to ever get to that point, then what are you? You're just okay. You're average. All right, cool. You're good. Some are slightly above average, but you're never elite. You're never the best. Eddie Spaghetti, Team Mason, no. Rogers, please. Craig Werlo, I'd rather not win the division, but I'd rather win playoff games and chips. So sorry, Ravens fans. Jumpin' Joe, what do you think about Tomlin? Seriously, should he be fired? Guys, Mike Tomlin has major deficiencies. I don't know Mike Tomlin. I can't say I hate Mike Tomlin because I don't know Mike Tomlin. I think he has deficiencies on the football field. Abso-freaking-lutely, I do. I think his clock management is poor. I think his situational football is poor. I think he is ultra-conservative. But I think this, and I've been saying this for 3 years, guys, and you heard me all last summer before the season started say this. Those of you that were with us here on the channel all last summer, which many of you were, you heard me say this, that Mike Tomlin just needs to make a few adjustments. And if he does make those few adjustments, if he digs down deep and figures out how to change, figures out how not to be a micromanager, figures out how to allow some of the duties to be performed without his input, without his hovering over top of, if he can figure out some of those things and make some simple adjustments, Mike Tomlin can get back into those winning ways. Mike Tomlin can get back to the championship brand of football. That's facts. Mike Tomlin is loved by a lot of players, but Mike Tomlin still does have those deficiencies. And again, guys, I can't say anything negative about Mike Tomlin, the man, because I honestly don't think he's a bad man. I don't think he's a horrible person. I don't know him, again, but from what I see, I don't see that. But I do see a football coach that is flawed. I do see a football coach that is overrated. I do see that. But Mike Tomlin can fix some of these things with some simple adjustments. And I just hope that he turns off the blinders that he has on, takes them off, rips them off his eyes, and opens them up and allows this football team to make those simple changes to bring them into this modern era of football. Because Mike Tomlin is stuck in a Dick LeBeau type era, if you want to classify it, like the Dick LeBeau days. That's where he's stuck. And if he can get out of that and progress a little bit, still remember the lessons learned by that era, still remember the lessons learned that he learned early as a football coach, and apply them and make them work in today's modern NFL. That's where he needs to be. But my honest opinion is I think he can make some simple adjustments and get back to that winning ways. But as of right now, he's been incapable of doing that. And that's all on Mike. And Mike has made some really poor decisions. And it's definitely shown over the last few years, for sure, especially the last decade. All right, guys, I need you to hit the like button. However, you got to hit the like button on your device. It is absolutely free to hit that like button for us here on Steel City Live, only on Mic Drop Sports. I'm your host, Jason. As always, we truly appreciate you diving in with us each and every day to talk football. I'm going to try to get through as many chat questions as I can. So keep putting them in there, man. If I get to it, I get to it. I appreciate each one of your comments. So I'm trying to get to a mix of people. So that's what we'll do. Mike Tomlin should be fired, but won't. That's from Eddie Spaghetti. Guys, please drop the fire Mike Tomlin thing. And I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying this. The Steelers will not fire Mike Tomlin. I heard it on a podcast the other day where one of the podcasters said, if Mike Tomlin loses here in the next year or two and isn't able to really get this ship righted, it'll be the first time that he's really on the hot seat. I got to disagree. I think Mike Tomlin leaves when Mike Tomlin wants to leave. So we got to just end it with that. And again, whether it's right or wrong, whether, I agree or don't, I just don't think it matters to the conversation because nothing's going to change with that. It's not going to happen. Armand, Steelers average 20.9 points per game. Yeah, that's what I mean. But if you average what? 3 more points a game, 3.5 more points a game, you're now up in the tops of the league probably. Mads G230, what's up? Mark Malone, can't wait to see Howard in the preseason. Yeah, I'm ultra excited to see Will Howard. Also another player that when we went on and we were doing our draft evaluations and we were talking about it directly, gut check right after the draft, I wasn't as high on Sawyer as, maybe some of you were or maybe some of you weren't. I don't know. I wasn't as high on him. I thought that was a pick the Steelers could have utilized in maybe the offensive line area or cornerback. I thought there were other places they could have went there. But the more I get to see and know of Jack Sawyer, I got to say, guys, I think the Steelers might have a player on their hands. And some of you may agree with that. Some of you may disagree with that, and that's okay. We'll see here in a few years how it all pans out. But I got to say, Jack Sawyer might be a fucking ball player, my friends. All right, guys, I'm going to continue through the chat. I need you guys to hit the shit out of that like button. We truly appreciate it. Mark Malone, yeah, these douche nozzles always say next year is the draft to take a quarterback. LOL, the guys haven't even played their most important, arguably only important season yet. Absolutely. Robert wrote, we will see Howard a lot in the preseason. I still can't understand how he fell all the way to the 6th round. Yeah, and Robert brings up a good point, too. The biggest story of the draft, guys, wasn't Shedeur Sanders falling on the draft board because most people that actually watch football and evaluate football players on a regular basis didn't have Shedeur Sanders in round 1. Didn't even have him in round 2. Didn't have him in round 3. That's most people. Most people didn't. But there were the section that, it's Prime's kid. They boosted him up. Oh, he had an amazing completion percentage. Yeah, to the check down 500 times a game. And I get it. I love Shedeur. I thought he made some good plays. I think he's a little misguided in his attitude and his approach. I think he needs to straighten some of those things up. But I like the kid, man. Do I think he's going to be a great NFL player? No. I think he'll be average. I think he could have a solid NFL career. I think he can make a lot of money playing the sport of football. But I don't think he'll be a Hall of Famer. I don't think he'll be a Super Bowl champion as a franchise quarterback. He may catch a ring being a backup somewhere or something. But, I don't value him as one of those guys that's going to lead a franchise down in, down out, week in, week out. I don't see him as that. But when you talk about Will Howard falling to the 6th round, that should have been the story of the draft. Did I have Will Howard as a first-round talent? No, I didn't. And I'm not going to say I did. But I had him as a second-round talent. I had Tyler Shuck as a second-round talent. I had Will Howard and Tyler Shuck ranked together. I thought that you could have got Will Howard in the 3rd round. That would have been the absolute latest that you could have got him or Tyler Shuck. The Saints were smart, man. They picked up Tyler Shuck quick. And a lot of people were shocked about that and say, oh, bad move. I got to tell you, I think the Saints hit a fucking home run with that. That's just my opinion. But I would have assumed Will Howard. When I saw Tyler Shuck go off the board at like 40, pick 40 or something like that, pick 44, somewhere in that area. When I saw him go to the Saints there, I immediately said to myself, Will Howard is soon, dude. He will be off the board and, before the end of the second round. He got to be, man. He has to be. Just because usually when players that are clumped together in terms of where they're ranked, once one of them goes, boom, they're all going to go because of the value of the pick, where people have them ranked. That's just the way those runs in the draft go. But he didn't. And I still think that should have been the story of the draft, how Will Howard was available in round 6. And, man, what if he works out for the Steelers? What if he hoists the Lombardi Trophy? What if, dude? Dude, I still want to talk about, though, why all these players that leave the Steelers all of a sudden just run their mouth and talk so much shit about the Steelers. I don't understand it, man. Have we just moved into the era of just people aren't professionals anymore? Have we moved into that era? Everybody says, I love Najee Harris. That dude bashed the fuck out of your organization when he rolled out the door. You can love him all you want, but he dogged your franchise, your beloved Steelers. He dogged them. Dogged them. Yeah, he did. George Pickens dogged them on the way out the door. AI did it. AI did it. Hey, every time I make a nasty comment from now until forever, man, until the day I die, I'm going to say that. Anytime that I say something foul that I regret saying, I'm going to say AI did it. AI did it, man. All right, guys. Tom Ford. What's up, Tom Ford? TD, winner, because you're a member of the Mafia and the first 5K to join. Yeah, man. We always want you to join, man. Get in that 5K club. AP, he's no Brady, but his ceiling talent as wise as Howard. Owen, what's up? Pittsburgh rules. Owen Tedford says Pittsburgh rules. Thank you, Owen, for that. We appreciate your support. Dead man, I'm glad GP is gone. A lot of people think that too, man. I think a lot of people. Owen says he's just kidding. You said the Steelers rule. Dead man 2. To Wade, we still have DK. Guys, the writing was on the wall. Either the Steelers were going to try to make one of the most elite wide receiver rooms in the league if George Pickens could get his head out of his ass, and couple DK and GP, or DK was brought in to replace George Pickens with a proven, tried and true professional. And that's how that was going to work. I mean, the writing was on the wall. Guys, figuring this stuff out isn't rocket science. It's just not. The Steelers put it all out there for you. You just got to put the puzzle pieces together. AP says, Will Howard, will he get any quarterback 1 reps? I don't believe so, but we'll see. I doubt it very seriously. We still have Calvin and Roman, and according to Omar Khan, I think he's really satisfied with that room. I think they've seen some growth with Roman Wilson over the off season, to where they've become a little bit more comfortable with him. I think he's been in the facility working really hard this entire off season. I think he has been in the playbook. I think he has been in the training room. I think he has been working on his route tree. And that's exactly what Roman Wilson needed to do, because he was behind the 8 ball last year. Injuries and his lack of knowledge of the schematics really killed him. And I think he's really worked hard to overcome that. And I think with the trade of George Pickens has also shown you guys something else also about that wide receiver room and what Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin think of that room. And I think that they have great and tremendous hope, and they think there's a lot of potential there, because Calvin Austin, he took a giant leap last year, guys. And if you can take another step, if Calvin Austin can take another step, he will be fairly productive and definitely guy that could be a third wide out on a football team. He's not far from that in terms of production. So we'll see if he can take that next step, which he should. So they have high hopes in Cal. Cal is a guy that they definitely believe in, I believe, to be real true. And Roman Wilson, what if he's just okay? What if he's serviceable? What if he's a guy that comes out and catches 35 passes, next year? Moves the chains here and there in some big moments. That's all you really need. As long as DK Metcalf can stay healthy, he's your big play guy. He's the guy that is going to draw a lot of attention. What you need now is a bunch of Robins, guys that can be a supporting cast. You don't need guys that have 100 catches. You don't need it. You need guys that can go out there. Maybe one of them gets 50, 55 catches. Another one gets 30, 35 catches. Another one gets 30, 35 catches. That's what you're looking for, because what are you trying to do as an offense here in 2025? You're trying to be dynamic. You're trying to spread the football around. So you don't need two guys that you're going to throw 200 passes to in 2025 in an offense that there ain't a ton of targets to go around in the first place, considering you have tight ends to feed, you have other wide receivers to feed. You're not going to throw 200 balls to just two people. You're not going to do it, guys. So I really just think that the Steelers have put and shown you as a fan base that they have tremendous faith in Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, and now Robert Woods. And Robert Woods, guys, he's not coming in here to be a number 2 wide receiver. Let's be real clear about that. But I don't think you need a definitive number 2 wide receiver. Just like I said, guys, you need DK Metcalf to be on top of his game. You need Pat Freiermuth to be productive in that tight end room, because those two things loosen things up for everyone else. It loosens things up for the run game, etc., etc. And now all you need is a supporting cast of reliable, young, quick guys that, can just grind, man, and come up big here and there. You don't need them to be there all the time for the biggest moments all the time. That's what you paid DK Metcalf $30-some million a year for. That's why you paid Pat Freiermuth a bucket of money, man. So that's what you need, guys. And I'm telling you, you don't want the football being force-fed to. You don't need that. You don't have to do that. You want a group. You want a team. You want to spread the football around, and that is going to tremendously help whoever is at quarterback for the Steelers, not to have to force feed anybody the football. All right, let's keep going. Let's get back to the chat here. Stephen Carpenter in the house. AP says, I hope Rodgers signs. Robert Rowe, George don't have any real intelligence. AI might be believable in his case. Yeah, he's so dumb, guys. I'm sorry. I'll say it, and I'm not afraid to say it. When I see a spade, I'm going to call a spade, and he's dumber than a box of fucking rocks. I'm sorry. Anybody that has an opportunity like George Pickens did and absolutely squanders it, I want to say this, too. Before I move on, and this will probably be the last thing that I say about the George Pickens saga. Anybody that has basically been handed, this was handed to George. The franchise drafted George Pickens, had a lack of talent in that room in terms of that room as a whole. They basically gave the keys to George Pickens to be the wide receiver 1 in the city of Pittsburgh. Gave him every opportunity over 3 years to become WR1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. There was nobody that was going to take that crown from him. All he had to do was put his head down, keep his mouth shut, come to work, and those numbers he put up, the Steelers would have been A-okay. They would have paid him, I'm telling you guys. If he'd have learned to keep his fucking mouth shut and do the things that he's supposed to do and not cause many violations over this course of a season, not give Mike Tomlin fits over having to talk about him in the press, if he would have done those things, he would have been the wide receiver of the Pittsburgh Steelers as the franchise guy at the wide receiver spot. Instead, he's so dumb that he just threw all that away. Let that sink into you guys. That's a topic that hasn't been talked about here at all by nobody that I've heard. I have not heard that brought up at all. That a guy that was given everything in the world, every opportunity, squandered them, year after year after year, even with people in the media, people in the fan base screaming out to him, just get your shit together, bro. Just get your shit together, bro. And he still couldn't do it. That shows you the ignorance. That shows you the lack of intelligence of George Pickens. Without me saying a freaking word. TD, Roman is an unknown, but could be a real surprise this year given the chance. Absolutely, TD. Deadman 2 Wade, did you watch the podcast with Ben, Will Howard? Yeah, I did. Mr. Steeler fan, hey, did you watch the podcast here on Mike Drop Sports? You should. Mr. Stiller fan, if Roman is as good as Lavernius Coles, then I would be okay with that. As long as he is playing number 3, I think ceiling for Roman Wilson is better than Santana Moss, which is really awesome. I can get on board with what you're putting down there, Mr. Stiller fan, but I'm not, this is the thing for Roman Wilson, guys. We don't need to classify a guy as a 2 or a 3 or a 4. All you're looking for is guys that can come in and contribute. Who cares where you're at on the depth chart? That's really what it is. You have DK, and then you have everybody else. That's how you should look at it. And we'll see how it goes. Aaron Derrick, IDK, I'm not going to just immediately take Omar Khan's word from now on. The man literally just said that they were happy with the wide receiver room with GP. He was gone 2 days later. Yeah, but here's the thing, Aaron. You got to give these guys a little slack with some of the things they tell you. They give you the information. You got to just be somebody putting those puzzle pieces together. And we do that for you here at Mike Drop Sports. We tell you as much as we can. I try my best to put those puzzle pieces together. But here's the thing. They can't come out there and tell you exactly what they're going to do all the time, guys. And you can't expect them to. That's suicide for them. That's career suicide for them. Why would they do that? You're telling every team in the league exactly what you're doing, and that doesn't work. You can't do that, man. Justin Fields sucks, Bean. I don't think he sucks. I just think that he went for the money, man. I think it was a mistake for Justin Fields to go to the Jets. The New Jersey Jets are a franchise that never get their shit together, and I think Justin will soon find that out. But I'm not talking about him. He's with the Jets. He doesn't play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it is what it is. I wish him the best. I'm glad he got paid because I want players to get paid. This is their job, But I think Justin Fields made a tremendous mistake in terms of career longevity. I think going to a franchise that's historically known for being just bad at times and ownership being blah, I just think is a grave mistake. Let's keep going. Let me go here. Aaron, we did that. Robert Road. Oh, sorry, guys. Hold on. All right, Robert Road. Where were you, Robert? Roman and Troy are like 2 more rookie draft picks this year with how little we saw them. Troy looked very good in one game that he played. Yeah, that's exciting, isn't it, Robert? That's definitely exciting that we didn't get to see these guys just yet. Ali Howard says, Asa alama alaikum. I never can say that right, but what's up, Ali? Good to see you, my man. All right, guys, I'm going to try to get back into chat here. DK and the Pips, Bean Edits, we did that. Steven Smith, your opinion on Howard. I think he's smart, big, the intelligence is the thing that I really, really love, and I think is going to give him a leg up. Russell Wilson, we're not talking about him. Big pun. I see too many wide receivers in that room cut out of the same mold. I can see what you're saying there, pun. I don't think you're necessarily wrong. When I look at that room, you're talking about, the same build, same type of skill set, perhaps. Definitely. I think you're right. I think versatility matters, no doubt about it. I think Robert Wood's different. I think what you're talking about is more like the Calvin Austins, Roman Wilson, Scotty Millers. Ben Skoronek's a little bit different, but you're right. Maybe a little bit overkill in one little area, but As a whole, I don't know if I'm disappointed in the wide receiver room, but I could see what you're putting down there, no doubt about it. All right, guys, make sure you're double tapping the screen as fast as you double tap that screen, hit that like button for us. We truly, truly appreciate it. Hitting that like button any way you can on your device. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a damn thing to do so, but we appreciate it greatly. If you're not subscribed, please jump in the conversation, my friends. Join us here at Mike Drop Sports by hitting that subscribe button. Memberships, super chats are always open. Again, we are moving into a new format, man. So exciting big things are about to happen here on the channel. I can't wait for it. I am also going to, for when we switch over to a new way of putting this out on YouTube to you guys, once we get everything ironed out, which after thinking about it last night and today, I want to do it really. I want to get it moving. So we'll see how fast we can get this done. But I also, when we get into that new format, I want to try to get, several guests and things of that nature just right off the bat to kick things off. So exciting things I think will happen. I think there's some people out there that'll come and talk on the channel. So we'll try to get some different people, some different varying opinions, and try to go from there. How do you feel we did that? Armand, Colin lied about Mason last year. No offer. Yeah, they never offered him. Nope, they didn't offer him. Douglas Ballhouse, just like any business, things can change from day to day and an hour to an hour. Let's play out the way they play out. Let things play out the way they play out. As always, going to be an exciting season. Everybody just stay calm. Absolutely, and you bring up an excellent point, Douglas, and I think you said that absolutely perfectly. It is a business, guys, and any good businessman isn't going to sit there and tell you every single move they're going to make. They're going to send smoke screens out. They're going to try to make things work out in their favor. They're not going to sit there and just telegraph everything to you. Now, in sports like this, it is a business. And these guys do drop you subtle little hints. They do, certain moves that you can get certain information from if you put the puzzle pieces together. It is what it is. There's places you can go, get the good information, man, have the good conversations, and places like this that if you're a fan, just come and bullshit, have fun, go over all of it, hear all the rumors, just have a good time, man. And that's what I want you to do this offseason. For the rest of the offseason, I challenge you to do this. Watch your football team grow. Look for the things that matter. Don't play into the national media bullshit. Shut them off. Shut the national media off. And get intimate with your football team, man. Whoever you root for, get intimate with your football team in terms of watching them and watching them grow, watching how players develop, looking at the schematics of your football team and understanding what your football team needs in order to be successful. And I think you'll have a way better appreciation for what your general manager, especially in Pittsburgh, has done, what your head coach has done, what your front office as a whole has done here in the 2025 offseason. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised to see some of those Band-Aids being ripped off. Some of these things that we've talked about year after year maybe starting to be chiseled away a little bit, and the tide may be turning a little bit. I just think you need to look at it as a fan and take and we always say take the blinders off. I think you need to put some of the blinders back on and block out some of the noise and really focus on what is going on with this football team and not listen to all the bullshit. Not listening to, everything being about a wide receiver, because that's not where football starts anyway, man. The bigger story shouldn't be the Pittsburgh Steelers trading George Pickens. The biggest story right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the biggest thing of concern for the Pittsburgh Steelers specifically, and it should be a concern for every NFL football team. Any team in the National Football League should have this as their number one priority. Offensive line depth. And I think that has to be the biggest story with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now currently. The biggest thing that could absolutely derail the 2025 season for the Pittsburgh Steelers is the offensive line. That can actually put this season and crush it before it ever starts. The health of that group is going to be ultra important because the depth doesn't exist currently for the Steelers. And that is a major, major issue, guys. And you have to really, really focus on that. That is the biggest thing right now that could derail this season. It isn't a wide receiver. It isn't a running back. I don't want to hear about defensive backs or any. It's none of that stuff, guys. It's none of that. If that offensive line has any type of catastrophic injury, you might be screwed because the depth isn't there. And whenever we gave out like, hey, how do you feel about this draft? That was my biggest knock. I didn't think that they addressed that. And I think that's something you address every single draft. Regardless if you're full with that position or not, I feel like you got to go after offensive linemen. You got to go after them and make them a priority every offseason. If you acquire solid talent at the offensive line position, it not only gives you security and depth on your football team, but it gives you pieces that you can trade off. Because what are teams always looking for, guys? Always. Offensive linemen, dude. They are easily tradable. They are easily flipped into high-value draft capital, easily. Or players in return of skill positions. You can find skill position players. Let's be real honest about that. A lot easier than you can find guys that play in the trenches. Those are the guys that mean the most, man. And I keep trying to emphasize that this offseason, and I don't think fans are receiving it as well as I would have hoped. That's where your focus should be right now, guys. It isn't about that wide receiver room because I feel comfortable enough with that. I feel like the run game's comfortable with the running backs. It is all about that offensive line right now, guys. That is going to make or break the Pittsburgh Steelers season, whether you like to hear it or not. I don't care who's under center. It doesn't matter. If that offensive line isn't a cohesive group, if that offensive line can't stay healthy, it's over, man. It's over. And it's going to be a long season full of mediocre offensive football, and we're going to have the same fucking conversations that we're having right now. Oh, what do the Steelers need to do on offense? Who do they need to get? And you know what's fucking absolutely crazy to me? No matter how much I point out the importance of the offensive line, if I ask the question of what the Steelers need to do offensively, you never hear the offensive line as from most people. You never hear that they need to fix this or that on the offensive line. It's always, no, wide receiver 2. You need a true wide receiver 2. That fixes everything. Bullshit. 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 Sorry. That's just the real fucking truth of it all. Whether you like to hear it or not, I'm here to tell you that's the truth. What's up, Miss P? Thomas Breeze, great show today. To Tomlin's credit, he's taking big balls maneuver, replacing Fields with a winning record and not re-signing Najee or GP, fly high or die. Yeah, sometimes you got to make some ballsy moves, man. Definitely. No doubt about it. All right, guys, we've been going for almost 70 minutes, and I thank you so very much for joining us, but I need you to hit the shit out of that like button like you own it, man. Beat the shit out of that like button. It's easy. Oh, excuse me. It's absolutely free to do. It costs you $0. We'll go for a couple more minutes here. Thank you. TD says, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, everyone. Yes, if you're not subscribed, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. There's going to be so many exciting things that happen here on the channel, and you do not want to miss it. You want to be a part of the ride. We are right at the cusp of 5,000 subscribers. And now we are about to just literally take this thing into that next stratosphere and really do the things that are necessary in order to be great. So, yeah, got to put in the hard work, man. Got to put in the hard work. That's why also, guys, I got to emphasize this. Hitting the like button, sharing, subscribing, super chats, becoming a member. Those things are going to be so very important here as we take everything we get from YouTube and put it right back into making the production a ton better for you guys. Man, is it going to be fun. I think there's going to be some cool things that you guys are going to really, really love. What's up, Ganja King B? Yeah, absolutely. Aaron says it right. Hey, come on, you freeloaders. Hit that like button. Absolutely. Don't freeload. Hit the like button, mother. Yeah. Big Pun, thanks for a great talk. Hey, man, good to see you, Big Pun. Thank you, man. Just your average Devin, kind of tasteless of George Pickens, to truth be heard. Yeah, he's just stupid. He's just dumb. Let's be honest, guys. Let's quit lying. Let's quit sugarcoating it. George Pickens dumb. It is what it is. All right, guys, man, I absolutely, truly enjoy talking football with you, but we will be back tomorrow here on Steel City Live, only on Mic Drop Sports. I'm your host, Jason, as always. And again, man, if you're not subscribed, you got to hit that subscribe button and join this conversation each and every single day. So until tomorrow, guys,